Hi guys. So, sorry if I sound a bit annoyed, but this is literally like my fifth time recording this video. Yeah. Okay. So, let's go ahead and just jump into it. Um Today we're going to be learning about how to use percentages and ratios to figure out like daily servings of food. So, let's go ahead and read this. It says the government has created guidelines for how much various nutrients, vitamins, and minerals a person should eat or drink each day to be healthy. These guidelines are then used to create labels like the one shown above to inform the public about the nutritional content of the food. So these are the nutritional labels that they're talking about. According to the sample label above, one serving of Cheesy Mac macaroni and cheese contains 15% of the recommended daily amount of saturated fat that a person should eat. And we can find that right here. Nutritionists recommend that a person should have no more than a certain amount of saturated fat each day. One serving of Cheesy Mac has 3 grams of saturated fat. And we can find that right here. How many grams of saturated fat should a person eat in one day? So that's our main question that we're trying to answer. How many grams of saturated fat should a person eat in one day? We know that 3 grams is 15%. So what would 100% of saturated fat be? That's what we're trying to answer. And to do that, we are given these hints. So let's go ahead and read hint number A. It says, with your team, decide how to partition the line. Divide into equal parts. So that's what the word partition means. So that 15% is shown. What did you do? Why did you choose to make that number of parts? Is there another way that you could have divided that line? So go ahead and think to yourself right now. How can I divide it into equal parts? How many parts? And is there another way to do it? Okay, go ahead and leave your answers. Okay, so I decided to partition the line like this. You might be asking, Ms. Lopez, why? Well, if I were to do it by 15s, right? 15, 30, 45, 60, 75, 90. What comes next? 105. So I couldn't do it by 15s because I would go over 100%. So that's why I didn't do it that way. And I decided to do it instead by 5s because 15 is divisible by 5. Okay? So each of these little sections right here, that's 5%. And that's 5%. Just Miss Lopez can't make them equal because, she's not perfect. So that's why I decided to do it 5%. Okay, so we answered both parts of those questions. It says the amount of saturated fat in one serving of Cheesy Mac is 3 grams. Where should 3 grams be labeled on the line? What do you guys think? Where should I label 3 grams of Cheesy Mac? I think right here. What do you guys think? Hopefully you said I was wrong. Because what did it say before? What is 3 grams? 3 grams is 15%. So I need to include this 15%. So from here to here, that is equal to 3 grams. Okay? So we added it to our diagram and we explained why. Okay, so use this diagram to help you decide how much saturated fat is recommended in the daily serving. Record your thinking. So if we want to find out our daily serving, we need to figure out how many grams is all of this. Well, let's go ahead and look closely here. I know that 1, 2, these 3 parts make up 3 grams. Wait a second. I have an idea. Do you have an idea? How many grams is all of this? Well, my idea here was that if these 3 parts make up 3 grams, that means that each part is worth 1 gram. So this is 1 gram, this is 1 gram, and this is 1 gram, because 1 plus 1 plus 1 is 3. So now I need to count how many spaces are there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So there are 20 grams. So that means 20 grams is 100% of the daily serving. So that's how we figured it out. So here I'm going to write 20 grams is the recommended daily serving of saturated fat. Okay, so we're also going to be using this problem and this scenario to answer the next questions. It says, one way to write a percentage is as a ratio or a comparison of parts out of 100. So remember, ratio is another fancy word for fraction. So I'm just going to go ahead and write that. For example, the ratio 15 over 100 represents 15 parts of 100 total parts. So remember how before I was telling you guys that I could rewrite 15% as 15 over 100? That's what this was saying. Okay, let's go ahead and read question A. So Jill represents the amount of saturated fat in the recommended daily amount with the ratio 3 over 20. What does the 3 represent and what does the 20 represent? Okay, so let's go back to our story. Can you figure out what does the 3 represent and what does the 20 represent? Okay, so hopefully you said that the 3 represents the saturated fat in 1 serving of Cheesy Mac. Okay, so this represents amount of saturated, I'm going to go ahead and abbreviate, fat in 1 serving of Cheesy Mac. And the 20, it represents the recommended daily serving of saturated fat. The recommended daily serving of saturated fat. Okay, so now that we know what our ratios represent, let's go ahead and answer question B. It says the ratios 15 over 100 and 3 over 20 are 2 different ways to compare saturated fat. Remember, this is the percentage way and this is the actual grams way. How can you show that the ratios are equivalent or the same? So we want to show that these ratios are equal. And how can we do that? What do you guys think? Well, there are 2 ways. So the first way could be I can show that I can divide both the numerator and the denominator by 5. So 15 divided by 5 is 3. 100 divided by 5 is 20. So that shows that they are the same because I simplified my fraction. Another way I could have shown it is by finding ones. I could have factored 15. Sorry, let me go ahead and slow that down. I could factor 15 is the same thing as 3 times 5. 100 is the same thing as 20 times 5. And remember, this 5 and this 5 become ones. So this is the same thing as 3 times 1, which is 3. 20 times 1, which is 20. So I just showed that 15 over 100 is the same thing as 3 over 20. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and stop here for today, and we're going to continue the lesson on Monday. I was about to say tomorrow.